Hey everybody, what's going on? Icy Cat here, and this week kicks off with some brand new exciting leaks. We now have in-game looks at what each of the 3 new operators looks like, as well as their operator names and what their gadgets do. Want to know more? Let's take a look at all the newly revealed details we know so far. We now have the name of all 3 operators that are coming out in a few weeks. The operators previously referred to as Caltrip and Dazzler are now known as Lesion and Ying respectively, and the Polish operator is named Ela. Of course, the names of Caltrip and Dazzler were only guessed at due to files that have been data mined from a version of the technical test server a few months ago. These may have simply been placeholder files that have been changed since that time, as now we see the official names look a little different. One thing that's important to mention is that these are not official Ubisoft reveals. These are actual leaks from multiple undisclosed sources. Typically, this kind of information is to be taken with a grain of salt, but these images do show parts of the in-game menus and use official art assets. Until Ubisoft does the official reveal, it's entirely possible that something here could have been faked, but you can clearly see that the high quality of these images, with the matching in-game art, would make that a pretty difficult forgery to pull off, although not impossible. Also, even if these are 100% legitimately leaked from the actual game, Ubisoft can always change assets or details between now and release as well, if that's what they want to do. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's take a closer look at each operator individually. Interestingly, all 3 operators have not been leaked as full-screen images, even though they appear to be screen grabs rather than cell phone pictures or anything like that. One possible reason for this may be that the test builds these originated from may have had unique user watermarks on the screen that, if revealed, might trace back to the user being allowed access to the early build and thus finding themselves in violation of some kind of NDA that they may have signed. By slicing the screen up in this way, they may have simply been cutting those watermarks out of the screen so that they can't be identified. Here we can see the Hong Kong defensive operator goes by the name of Lesion. He's armed with cloaked toxic mines that inject a compound that injures enemies and limits their speed. This would be the operator formerly known as Caltrip. You can see by the operator's icon there's a Caltrip with small barbs on it. We can also see this operator pulling a grenade-like device from last week's teaser reveal, so these mines look like they can be deployed similarly to like Smoke's gas grenades, by tossing them out by hand rather than directly placed on a surface like, say, Fuse's cluster charge. These mines are also apparently invisible, as the word cloak implies they are probably similar to Echo's drone cloaking technology. As it's listed as a toxic mine, it's unknown whether or not this device is triggered remotely or automatically. Most types of mines by their nature are place and forget type traps, and have some method of automatically deploying, such as motion sensors, lasers, pressure triggers, tripwires, whatever. But we don't for sure know the method of activation that these are going to use, up to and including possible manual detonation. It should also be interesting to note that it specifically says that this slows operators down. So this could be while they're going through the area of effect that the spread of the detonation makes. The operators traversing through that might be reduced to like a slower walking speed or something like that while they go through it. Somewhat similar to like barbed wire. As you can see from his assault vest, the character model has lots of poison vials on it. I also had a lot of people comment on this image from last week, and they thought the sidearm had a pistol sight on it here. I didn't think that's what it was though, and this image seems to confirm that. It's clearly a small grenade of some kind. Looks like maybe smoke grenades. It should be noted though that small details like this on the character model usually have almost nothing to do with the operator's actual loadout and abilities. They're just there for artistic design, not necessarily loadout balancing. Especially because we know Ubisoft will tend to change that loadout balancing as the game progresses, kind of as they see fit. Now let's take a look at the Hong Kong attacker. This is a character previously referred to as Dazzler in the data mined files, but now goes by the name of Ying. We don't know the speed of this operator yet, but she does look a little more bulky in her armor and gear than Lesion did. She was also shown in last week's teaser for a brief couple of seconds. And at the time I thought that maybe they were the same operator, but many of you pointed out one op had shoulder pads and the other didn't, and you guys were right. Unlike Lesion, only these 2 parts of the screenshot have been leaked so far. We can also see her gadget as some type of cluster flash charge device, kind of like a hostage-friendly version of Fuse. These Candela charges, as they're being called, also have the ability to be rolled out as a grenade, giving them a lot more utility in how they're actually going to be deployed. It's not really known if her visor will grant her any kind of full or partial immunity to the effects of her own device or not, but it's an interesting possibility to think about. Finally, we come to the Polish operator who goes by the name of Ela, and she's also a defender. So Operation Blood Orchid will have 1 new attacker and 2 new defenders. The first thing you're probably going to notice is her green hair. This operator was leaked a few weeks ago, but was totally unconfirmed, and a lot of people wondered if she was faked or not. But as you can see in this image, the operator appears to have been the real deal, though she does seem to have gotten a change in that hair color like I said. Otherwise, the character model looks pretty much the same, and even the uniform is a match. It's also pretty interesting to note, though, what appears to be a red dot sight on that pistol, too. Some people thought that maybe that was a new class of attachments for all pistols, and others wondered if maybe it was specific to just her and tied to her operator's ability. But going back to the main model and info, we see her gadget is something else entirely. She has concussion proximity mines that can be anchored on surfaces, impairing hearing and causing a dizzying effect. Unlike Lesion's mines, it doesn't sound like you'll be able to toss these out, and it sounds like you may be limited to placing these directly on surfaces, kind of like Jaeger's ADS units. Now with Jaeger, you can place his gadgets on floors as well as walls, so I don't know if that will be the same here or not, but it's a probable similarity to what it means by anchoring the mines on surfaces. It sounds like we also know the activation method in this case, as it specifically says proximity mines. Of course, that means that if you get close enough to the trap, it will detonate automatically. The nature of the detonation is concussive, and when it talks about impairing hearing and creating dizziness, we're pretty much talking about Echo's drone effects here too. So Lesion can cloak mines like Echo drones, Ela can use proximity concussion mines that replicate the effects of Echo's drone, and then just imagine a defensive team also running an actual Echo drone, and you'd have a lot of overlapping effect in a few different ways, making for a pretty bad day for rushing attackers. In fact, both of these defenders seem to be pretty geared towards slowing down attacker rushes in more ways than one. Those aggressive Ash rushes may have something to make them think twice about now before just running in. In fact, IQ may become a more common rusher now because she would probably be able to serve double duty as both a fast rusher like Ash, but also being able to detect those very traps that would slow that rush down if the enemy team did take those operators. Meanwhile, Ying seems more like she's about taking the objective and dealing with any campers in a known area, which makes her, although probably slower based on the amount of armor it looks like she's wearing, also a great support operator to taking over the objective location. So now that we have some pretty likely looking leaks from the game's 3 new operators, what do you guys think? Are these gadgets something that will change the flow of the game and add new and interesting ways to play? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll be having even more exciting news and information on Operation Blood Orchid coming out this week and next week, so if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. If you click the notification icon, you will be alerted as soon as I upload breaking new information. Also, be sure to follow me over at IcyCat25 on both Facebook and Twitter too. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.